In the heart of a lively city filled with lights, sounds, and endless activity, there stood a beautiful boutique hotel. It wasn't one of those towering glass buildings that reached for the sky, but rather a charming, intimate space tucked into a quiet corner of an upscale neighborhood. This hotel was special. It had character, warmth, and a story waiting to unfold. And at the center of it all was Maya Thompson, a woman whose journey to this moment had been anything but ordinary. Maya had always dreamed big, even when life seemed determined to test her limits. Growing up in a modest household, she learned early on the value of hard work and perseverance. Her love for hospitality began as a child, watching her mother host family gatherings with care and precision. Those small moments sparked something inside her, a desire to create spaces where people felt welcomed, valued, and cared for. But turning that dream into reality wasn't easy. Maya worked multiple jobs, attended night school, and spent years climbing the ranks in various hotels until she finally saved enough money to buy her own place. Now here she was, standing outside the very building she now owned. The sign above the entrance gleamed proudly, Thompson Boutique Hotel. Just reading the name gave her goosebumps. For so long, this had been just a distant dream. But today, it was real. Still, Maya knew owning a hotel came with challenges beyond managing finances or ensuring guest satisfaction. As a black woman stepping into a role often dominated by others who didn't look like her, she understood that proving herself might take time. She wanted to earn not only the trust of her guests, but also the respect of her staff. On this particular morning, Maya decided to do something unconventional. Before officially introducing herself as the owner, she chose to spend the day blending in, observing how things ran, listening to conversations, and getting a feel for the team dynamics. Dressed casually in jeans, sneakers, and a simple sweater, she walked through the lobby like any other visitor. No one paid much attention to her. They assumed she was either a guest or someone passing through. That suited Maya just fine. She liked being invisible for now because it allowed her to see things clearly, without filters or pretenses. As she wandered around, Maya couldn't help but notice the little details, the way the receptionist greeted guests with a warm smile, the meticulous arrangement of flowers in the lounge area, the soft hum of chatter from the cafe. Everything seemed perfect on the surface, yet Maya sensed there was more beneath the polished exterior. She overheard snippets of conversation between employees, a few jokes exchanged here, some complaints muttered under breaths there. Nothing alarming, but enough to make her curious about what truly went on behind closed doors. Little did Maya know, her decision to remain incognito would soon lead to an unexpected twist. While browsing the gift shop later that afternoon, admiring handmade crafts and trinkets displayed neatly on shelves, she found herself facing a situation no one could have predicted. What started as a casual glance at a decorative vase quickly turned into a confrontation that would challenge everything Maya thought she knew about her new venture and herself. This seemingly ordinary day was about to become extraordinary, setting the stage for a story of resilience, courage, and transformation. Maya's journey as the unseen proprietor was only beginning, and it promised to be unforgettable. Maya moved through the hotel with a quiet confidence, her eyes taking in every detail. She wanted to understand how the staff interacted with guests, how they handled challenges, and whether the values she envisioned for her hotel were already alive in its day-to-day operations. Dressed casually, she blended seamlessly into the crowd, just another face in the bustling lobby. No one gave her a second glance, which suited her perfectly. For now, she was content being an observer, letting the rhythm of the hotel reveal itself naturally. Her first stop was the cafe, where the rich aroma of freshly brewed coffee filled the air. Maya ordered a cappuccino and took a seat by the window, watching as employees bustled around. A young waiter accidentally spilled a drink on a guest's shirt, his face turning bright red as he stammered an apology. To Maya's relief, the guest laughed it off, patting the waiter on the shoulder. It was a small moment, but it spoke volumes about the atmosphere she hoped to cultivate, a place where mistakes were met with understanding, not hostility. After finishing her coffee, Maya wandered toward the gift shop. The boutique was small but inviting, stocked with locally made crafts, jewelry, and souvenirs. She picked up a hand-painted ceramic vase, admiring the intricate designs. As she turned it over to check the price tag, she noticed two housekeeping staff members standing nearby. They were whispering to each other, occasionally glancing in her direction. At first, Maya thought nothing of it. Perhaps they were discussing their tasks or sharing a joke. But then, one of them approached her. "Excuse me," the woman said sharply, her tone carrying an edge that made Maya pause. "Can I help you with something?" Maya smiled politely, setting the vase back on the shelf. "Oh no, I'm just looking around. This is such a lovely shop." The woman crossed her arms, her expression tightening. "You've been here for a while. Are you staying at the hotel?" For a moment, Maya considered telling the truth, that she owned the place. But curiosity got the better of her. She wanted to see how far this interaction would go before revealing herself. "Not exactly," she replied lightly. "I'm just visiting." The second staff member joined them, her gaze narrowing suspiciously. "We saw you earlier near the storage room," she chimed in. "Were you trying to take something?" Maya blinked, caught off guard by the accusation. "Take something? No, I wasn't even near the storage room. I've just been walking around." But the women didn't seem convinced. Their body language shifted. They stood closer together, forming a kind of barrier between Maya and the rest of the shop. One of them pointed to the vase Maya had been holding moments ago. "That's expensive. Did you think you could walk out with it?" Maya felt a surge of frustration bubbling beneath the surface, but she forced herself to stay calm. She held up her hands, showing she wasn't hiding anything. "Listen, there's clearly been some misunderstanding. I haven't taken anything. I don't even have a bag with me." The first woman scoffed, shaking her head. "It's always the same story. People come in here acting innocent, and next thing you know, things start disappearing." At this point, a small crowd began to gather. Other staff members drifted over, drawn by the commotion. Some looked curious, while others wore expressions of disapproval, as though they'd already decided Maya was guilty. The situation was escalating quickly, and Maya realized she needed to address it before it spiraled further out of control. "I understand your concern," she said firmly, meeting their gazes one by one. "But I assure you, I haven't done anything wrong. In fact," before she could finish, another voice cut through the tension. "What's going on here?" It was the manager, striding into the shop with an air of authority. He glanced at Maya, then at his team, his brow furrowing. "Is there a problem?" The two housekeepers immediately launched into an explanation, their words tumbling over each other in their eagerness to explain what had happened, or rather, what they thought had happened. Maya listened silently, her jaw tightening as she processed their version of events. When they finally paused for breath, the manager turned to her, his tone clipped and skeptical. "If you're not a guest, and you're not staff," he said, crossing his arms, "then who exactly are you? And why are you here?" Maya hesitated, weighing her options. She could reveal her identity right then and there, putting an end to the confrontation. But something stopped her. Maybe it was the dismissive look in the manager's eyes, or the way the staff seemed so quick to judge her based on appearances. Whatever it was, Maya decided to wait, to let them dig themselves deeper into their assumptions before she pulled the rug out from under them. The silence in the gift shop was thick, almost suffocating. All eyes were on Maya as she stood calmly amidst a growing storm of suspicion and hostility. The manager's expression hardened further, his patience clearly wearing thin. "Double-check our facts," he repeated, his voice laced with disbelief. "Lady, you're standing here accused of theft by my staff. If you've got nothing to hide, then explain yourself." Maya took a deep breath, her mind racing. She knew she could end this entire ordeal with just a few words, reveal that she owned the hotel, show them the emails, the contracts, the proof. But something inside her hesitated. This wasn't just about clearing her name anymore. It was about making them see how quickly they had judged her based solely on appearances. She wanted them to feel the weight of their assumptions before she revealed the truth. "I already told you," Maya said evenly, her tone measured but firm. "I haven't taken anything. I'm simply browsing. But if it makes you feel better, go ahead and check the cameras or whatever else you need to do." Her calmness seemed to irritate the manager even more. He glanced at the two housekeeping staff members who had started the confrontation, silently seeking confirmation. They nodded vigorously, their earlier accusations now bolstered by his presence. One of them added, "We saw her near the storage room earlier too. She was acting suspicious." Maya bit back a retort. Acting suspicious? She hadn't been doing anything out of the ordinary, just walking through the hotel like any visitor might. Yet here they were, twisting innocent actions into something sinister. The unfairness of it stung, but she refused to let her emotions get the better of her. "Fine," the manager snapped, clearly done with the back and forth. "If you're not going to cooperate, we'll have no choice but to involve security." With that, he turned on his heel and marched out of the shop, presumably to call for backup. The remaining staff exchanged uneasy glances, some whispering among themselves while others continued to glare at Maya. A few guests who had overheard the commotion lingered nearby, watching the scene unfold with obvious curiosity. Maya felt a mix of frustration and determination bubbling inside her. She didn't want to embarrass anyone, but she also couldn't let this slide, not when it highlighted such a glaring issue within her own team. As the minutes ticked by, the tension in the room grew palpable. Maya leaned casually against one of the display shelves, trying to project an air of confidence despite the mounting pressure. She noticed how the staff kept sneaking glances at her, their expressions ranging from outright hostility to nervous uncertainty. It was clear they expected her to crack under the scrutiny, but Maya wasn't about to give them the satisfaction. Finally, the manager returned, flanked by two security guards. Their imposing figures only added to the drama of the moment. The manager gestured toward Maya, his tone clipped and authoritative. "She's refusing to leave. Take care of it." One of the guards stepped forward, his voice gruff but professional. "Ma'am, I'm going to need you to come with us. We'll sort this out upstairs." Maya crossed her arms, meeting his gaze steadily. "And what exactly are we sorting out? You've accused me of stealing something I haven't touched. Is this how your hotel treats every guest or potential owner?" The word owner hung in the air like a thunderclap. For a split second, everyone froze, their faces reflecting a mixture of shock and disbelief. The manager blinked rapidly, his mouth opening and closing as though he couldn't quite form the right words. "Owner?" He finally managed to choke out. "What are you talking about?" Without saying another word, Maya pulled out her phone and dialed her lawyer. Within moments, an email landed in the manager's inbox, a copy of the purchase agreement, complete with her signature and legal documentation, proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that she was, indeed, the proprietor of the very hotel they all worked for. The room erupted into chaos. Gasps filled the air as the staff scrambled to process what they were seeing. Some looked mortified, their earlier bravado replaced by shame. Others appeared defensive, muttering excuses under their breath. The manager's face turned a deep shade of red, his embarrassment evident as he realized the magnitude of the mistake they'd made. Maya watched it all unfold with a mix of emotions: anger, sadness, and a flicker of hope. This incident wasn't just about her. It was a reflection of deeper biases and systemic issues that needed addressing. As the initial shock began to wear off, she knew this was the start of a much bigger conversation, one that would challenge everyone involved to rethink their assumptions and strive for change. The revelation hit the room like a tidal wave, washing away the tension but leaving behind an awkward, heavy silence. The manager stood frozen, his face flushed with embarrassment as he stared at the email on his phone. The staff, who moments ago had been so quick to accuse Maya, now shifted uncomfortably, their earlier confidence replaced by shame and disbelief. No one dared to speak, afraid of saying the wrong thing, or perhaps realizing there was nothing they could say to undo what had just happened. Maya took a step forward, her presence commanding despite her calm demeanor. She looked around the room, meeting each pair of eyes in turn. Some avoided her gaze altogether, while others glanced at her nervously, as though waiting for her to explode in anger. But Maya wasn't angry, not outwardly, at least. Instead, she felt a deep sadness settling over her. This wasn't how she'd imagined her first day as the owner of the hotel. She had hoped for warmth, collaboration, and mutual respect, not suspicion, judgment, and hostility. "Let me make one thing clear," Maya began, her voice steady but firm. "I bought this hotel because I believe in creating spaces where people feel valued, respected, and welcome, whether they're guests or employees. But today, I experienced something very different. I walked into my own property, and within minutes, I was accused of theft, not because of anything I did, but because of assumptions made about who I am." Her words hung in the air, heavy with meaning. The staff exchanged uneasy glances, some fidgeting with their uniforms, others staring at the floor. The manager finally found his voice, though it came out shaky and uncertain. "Miss Thompson, I'm sorry. We didn't know. If we had known." "That's exactly the point," Maya interrupted gently but firmly. "You didn't take the time to find out. Instead, you jumped to conclusions based on appearances. That's not just unprofessional, it's harmful. Imagine if I were a guest. How would this experience have made me feel? Would I ever come back to this hotel? Would I recommend it to others?" The question lingered, unanswered. Maya let it sink in before continuing. "This isn't just about me. It's about the kind of environment we create here. As hospitality professionals, our job is to make people feel safe and cared for. But how can we do that if we don't treat each other and our guests with basic respect and fairness?" Her tone softened slightly, though her message remained clear. "I'm not here to punish anyone. Mistakes happen, but this moment is an opportunity. A chance for all of us to reflect on how we interact with one another and how we can grow together. I want this hotel to be a place where everyone feels proud to work, whether you're greeting guests at the front desk, cleaning rooms, or managing operations. And that starts with trust, communication, and accountability." By now, the initial shock had begun to wear off, replaced by a mix of emotions among the staff. Some looked genuinely remorseful, their earlier defensiveness melting into regret. Others still seemed resistant, struggling to process what had happened. One of the housekeeping staff members, the same woman who had first accused Maya, stepped forward hesitantly. Her voice trembled as she spoke. "I'm so sorry, Miss Thompson. I didn't mean. I thought." "It's okay," Maya said, cutting her off with a small, reassuring smile. "You didn't know. None of you did. But now you do. And that gives us a chance to move forward, to do better." With that, Maya turned to the manager, who was still visibly flustered. "I'd like to meet with you tomorrow morning to discuss some changes we need to implement, not just for today's incident, but for the long-term culture of this hotel. Can we agree on that?" The manager nodded quickly, relief evident in his expression. "Of course. Whatever you need, Miss Thompson." As the crowd began to disperse, Maya took a moment to collect herself. The confrontation had drained her emotionally, but it also clarified something important. This hotel needed more than just renovations or updated policies. It needed a shift in mindset, a commitment to inclusivity, empathy, and understanding. And Maya was determined to lead that change, no matter how challenging it might be. For now, though, she allowed herself a quiet moment of reflection. Today had been unexpected, even painful, but it had also revealed the work that lay ahead. As she walked out of the gift shop and back into the lobby, Maya felt a renewed sense of purpose. This was her hotel, her team, and her mission. and she wasn't going to let anything stand in the way of building something truly meaningful. The next evening, Maya stood at the front of a conference room filled with her staff. Every employee, from housekeeping to management, was present, their faces reflecting a mix of emotions: curiosity, apprehension, and for some, lingering guilt. The atmosphere was tense but attentive, as though everyone sensed that this meeting would set the tone for what was to come. Maya had spent hours preparing for this moment, carefully choosing her words to inspire change without alienating those who needed guidance. She began by recounting the events of the previous day in simple, unflinching terms. "Yesterday, something happened that none of us expected," she said, her voice calm but firm. "I walked into my own hotel, an establishment I worked tirelessly to acquire, and within minutes I was accused of theft. Not because of anything I did, but because of assumptions made about who I am." A murmur rippled through the room, but Maya held up a hand, silencing it. "Now, before anyone feels defensive or tries to explain away what happened, let me be clear. I'm not here to point fingers or assign blame. What I am here to do is talk about why this matters and how we can ensure it never happens again." She paused, letting her words sink in. Some employees shifted uncomfortably in their seats, while others leaned forward, clearly eager to hear more. Maya continued, her tone softening slightly. "Think about it. If I, as the owner of this hotel, could walk in and be treated this way, what does that say about how we treat our guests, or even each other? Hospitality isn't just about providing a clean room or a warm meal. It's about making people feel seen, valued, and respected. That starts with how we interact with one another." To drive her point home, Maya shared a personal story. She spoke about growing up in a modest household, watching her mother go above and beyond to make others feel welcome. "My mom taught me that no matter who walks through your door, a neighbor, a stranger, or someone completely unexpected, you treat them with kindness and respect, because you never know what they're carrying with them, their struggles, their hopes, their dreams." Her vulnerability seemed to resonate with the room. A few employees nodded thoughtfully, while others exchanged glances, perhaps realizing how far they had strayed from these basic principles. Maya then transitioned into discussing specific actions they could take to foster a more inclusive and respectful workplace. "One of the first things we'll do is implement mandatory diversity training sessions," she announced. "These won't be lectures or checkboxes. They'll be opportunities for all of us to learn, grow, and understand one another better. We'll also introduce monthly town halls where anyone can share concerns, ideas, or feedback openly. My door will always be open too. If you ever feel unheard or disrespected, I want you to know that you have a voice here." As she outlined these initiatives, Maya emphasized that accountability wouldn't stop at apologies. It would require consistent effort. "Change doesn't happen overnight," she admitted. "It takes time, patience, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. But if we commit to this journey together, I believe we can build something truly special, a hotel culture rooted in empathy, trust, and mutual respect." By the end of the meeting, the tension in the room had shifted. While some employees still looked uncertain, others appeared inspired, nodding along as Maya wrapped up her speech. Before dismissing everyone, she left them with one final thought. "Every single one of you plays a role in shaping the heart of this hotel. Let's make sure it beats with kindness, fairness, and integrity, for our guests, for each other, and for ourselves." When the meeting concluded, several employees lingered behind, approaching Maya with heartfelt apologies and promises to do better. One of the housekeepers who had initially accused her teared up as she thanked Maya for handling the situation with grace. It was a small but meaningful gesture, signaling the beginning of healing and growth. As Maya watched her team file out of the room, she felt a renewed sense of hope. This wasn't going to be easy. Change rarely was, but she knew they were on the right path. Together, they could turn this difficult chapter into an opportunity to create a brighter, more inclusive future. In the weeks that followed Maya's heartfelt meeting with her staff, the hotel began to transform, not in its physical appearance, but in the way people interacted with one another. The changes weren't immediate or seamless. There were moments of resistance, awkwardness, and even pushback. But Maya remained steadfast, leading by example and reinforcing her commitment to creating a workplace rooted in respect and inclusivity. The first major step was the diversity training sessions. Maya brought in an expert facilitator who specialized in addressing unconscious bias and fostering empathy in professional settings. At first, some employees approached these sessions with skepticism. A few grumbled about wasting time on activities they didn't see as directly relevant to their jobs. But as the workshops unfolded, something remarkable happened. Barriers began to break down. During one session, participants were asked to share personal stories, moments when they had felt judged, misunderstood, or excluded. The exercise started hesitantly, with only a handful of people speaking up. But as the room filled with raw, honest narratives, others found the courage to open up too. One housekeeper recounted how she had been overlooked for promotions despite years of dedication. A front desk clerk admitted feeling belittled by guests who assumed he wasn't knowledgeable enough to help them. Slowly but surely, walls crumbled, replaced by understanding and connection. Maya attended every session, sitting alongside her team rather than positioning herself above them. She shared her own experiences of facing bias and discrimination throughout her career, emphasizing that no one was immune to these challenges, not even the owner of the hotel. Her vulnerability resonated deeply, encouraging others to confront their own biases without fear of judgment. Beyond the training, Maya introduced practical changes to improve communication and accountability within the hotel. She implemented an anonymous feedback system where employees could report concerns or suggest improvements without fear of retaliation. This initiative quickly gained traction, with staff members submitting thoughtful ideas about everything from scheduling conflicts to better ways to handle guest complaints. Maya made it a point to address each submission personally, ensuring everyone felt heard and valued. The monthly town hall meetings became another cornerstone of the hotel's evolving culture. These gatherings provided a platform for open dialogue between management and staff, fostering transparency and trust. During the first meeting, Maya addressed lingering questions about the incident that had sparked this journey. She acknowledged the pain and embarrassment it had caused but reminded everyone that mistakes were opportunities for growth. By the second meeting, employees were actively participating, sharing both concerns and successes. It was during one such meeting that a maintenance worker proposed organizing team-building events outside of work hours, a suggestion that was met with enthusiastic applause. As the weeks turned into months, subtle shifts became evident throughout the hotel. Conversations among staff grew warmer and more collaborative. Employees greeted each other and guests with genuine smiles, no longer going through the motions out of obligation. Even small gestures, like holding the door open for a colleague or offering assistance without being asked, became commonplace. Guests noticed the difference too, leaving glowing reviews about the exceptional service and welcoming atmosphere. Still, Maya knew that true change required constant effort. She scheduled regular check-ins with department heads to monitor progress and identify areas needing improvement. When an issue arose, a miscommunication between teams or a guest complaint, she used it as a teaching moment, guiding her staff toward solutions while reinforcing the values they were striving to embody. One evening, as Maya walked through the lobby during the dinner rush, she overheard two housekeepers laughing together as they polished the marble floors. Nearby, a waiter patiently explained menu options to a guest who spoke limited English. In the corner, the manager chatted warmly with a family checking in, his earlier stiffness replaced by genuine warmth. For the first time since acquiring the hotel, Maya felt a deep sense of pride, not just in what they had accomplished, but in the potential they had unlocked. This wasn't the end of their journey, it was only the beginning. But Maya could already see glimpses of the legacy she hoped to leave behind. A hotel where everyone, regardless of their role or background, felt respected, empowered, and inspired to give their best. And as she stood there, watching her team thrive. She knew they were well on their way to making that vision a reality. Months had passed since the incident that shook the foundation of the Thompson Boutique Hotel, and the transformation was undeniable. What had once been a workplace riddled with unspoken biases and fractured trust had blossomed into a vibrant community built on mutual respect and collaboration. Guests noticed it immediately. Smiles came easier, service felt more genuine, and every corner of the hotel radiated warmth. But what truly set the establishment apart was the way its staff carried themselves. They weren't just employees. They were ambassadors of a culture Maya had worked tirelessly to create. Word of mouth spread quickly. Travelers praised the hotel online, highlighting not only the luxurious accommodations, but also the exceptional care they received from the staff. One review read, "From the moment I walked in, I felt like family. Everyone, from the housekeeping team to the concierge, went above and beyond to make my stay unforgettable." Another guest wrote, "This isn't just a hotel, it's an experience. You can tell the people here genuinely love what they do." For Maya, these reviews were more than compliments. They were proof that her vision was taking root. She often spent time walking through the hotel, observing interactions between guests and employees. It brought her immense joy to see how far they'd come. The same housekeeper who had accused her of theft months earlier now greeted her warmly each morning, sharing updates about her daughter's school achievements. The manager, once defensive and rigid, had become one of Maya's most trusted allies, championing the changes she introduced and encouraging others to embrace them. But Maya didn't stop there. Determined to solidify the hotel's reputation as a beacon of inclusivity, she launched initiatives that extended beyond its walls. She partnered with local organizations to host workshops for underrepresented groups interested in careers in hospitality. These programs provided training, mentorship, and job opportunities, empowering participants to pursue their dreams while diversifying the industry. Maya also invited guest speakers, entrepreneurs, activists, and thought leaders to share their stories during special events at the hotel, further reinforcing its role as a hub for meaningful conversations. One evening, during one of these events, Maya found herself standing before a packed audience. The room buzzed with energy as attendees mingled over hors d'oeuvres and soft jazz music. Taking the microphone, Maya began to speak. "When I first opened this hotel, I had a dream: to create a space where everyone feels welcome, valued, and inspired. But along the way, I learned something important. Achieving that dream requires more than good intentions. It demands action, accountability, and a willingness to grow." Her voice softened as she continued, "We've made mistakes, big ones, but we've also taken steps to learn from them. Today, this hotel is more than just a business to me. It's a testament to what's possible when we choose empathy over judgment, understanding over assumption, and unity over division." The crowd erupted into applause, many rising to their feet. Among the attendees were her own employees, beaming with pride as they watched their leader inspire others. For Maya, this moment was deeply personal, a culmination of all the hard work, resilience, and heart she had poured into rebuilding the hotel's culture. As the event wound down, Maya took a moment to step outside onto the terrace. The city lights twinkled in the distance, casting a golden glow over the bustling streets below. She reflected on how much had changed, not just within the hotel, but within herself. Owning a business was never easy, but navigating the challenges of bias and prejudice had tested her in ways she hadn't anticipated. Yet, instead of breaking her spirit, those challenges had strengthened it, fueling her determination to leave a lasting impact. Maya knew the journey wasn't over. There would always be room for improvement, new lessons to learn, and fresh obstacles to overcome. But as she looked back at the thriving hotel behind her, she felt a profound sense of fulfillment. This wasn't just a place where people stayed. It was a place where lives were touched, connections were forged, and hearts were healed. And for Maya, that was worth every struggle, every sleepless night, and every ounce of effort. The Thompson Boutique Hotel had become more than just a name on a sign. It was now synonymous with excellence, inclusivity, and heart. Months turned into years, and the legacy Maya had worked so hard to build continued to grow stronger. The hotel wasn't just thriving as a business. It had become a symbol of what could be achieved when people came together with purpose and determination. Guests returned again and again, not only for the luxurious amenities, but also for the sense of belonging they felt within its walls. Families celebrated milestones in the grand ballroom, couples exchanged vows overlooking the city skyline, and solo travelers found solace in the quiet corners of the cozy library. Each guest left with a story to tell, and each story reflected the care and dedication of the staff who made their stay unforgettable. For Maya, the hotel's success was deeply personal. It represented the culmination of her dreams, struggles, and unwavering belief in the power of change. But beyond that, it became a platform for her to advocate for broader issues in the hospitality industry. She began speaking at conferences, sharing her journey, and urging others to confront biases and embrace diversity. Her talks resonated with audiences, inspiring countless professionals to rethink how they approached leadership and customer service. One particular speech stood out. Standing on stage at a global hospitality summit, Maya recounted the day she was accused of theft in her own hotel. "That moment taught me something profound," she said, her voice steady yet filled with emotion. "It showed me that even the best intentions can falter without accountability. But it also reminded me that mistakes don't define us. How we respond to them does." Her words struck a chord with the audience, many of whom approached her afterward to express gratitude. Some shared their own stories of facing bias or discrimination in the workplace, while others sought advice on implementing similar changes in their organizations. Maya listened intently to each person, offering guidance and encouragement. She knew that real change happened one conversation at a time. Back at the hotel, Maya continued to innovate. She introduced sustainability initiatives, partnering with local artisans to source eco-friendly products and reducing waste through creative solutions. Employees were encouraged to contribute ideas, fostering a culture of collaboration and creativity. Guests loved these efforts, often leaving notes of appreciation for the hotel's commitment to both people and the planet. As the years went by, Maya's influence extended far beyond the hotel's walls. She became a mentor to aspiring entrepreneurs, particularly women of color navigating industries where representation was scarce. Through workshops, podcasts, and community events, she shared her insights and experiences, reminding others that success wasn't about perfection, it was about perseverance. Despite her growing fame, Maya remained grounded. Every morning, she started her day with a walk through the hotel, greeting guests, and checking in with her team. These moments kept her connected to the heart of the operation, the people who made it all possible. Whether it was congratulating a housekeeper on receiving Employee of the Month or thanking a chef for crafting a new menu item, Maya never missed an opportunity to show appreciation. On the hotel's 5th anniversary, Maya hosted a celebration unlike any other. Staff members, past and present, gathered alongside loyal guests and community partners to mark the milestone. As fireworks lit up the night sky, Maya took the stage, her eyes glistening with tears of joy. "This hotel has been my greatest challenge and my proudest achievement," she said, her voice trembling with emotion. "But none of this would have been possible without all of you. Together, we've created something truly special, a place where everyone belongs." The crowd erupted into cheers, the sound echoing across the city. For Maya, this moment encapsulated everything she had worked for: resilience, unity, and transformation. The journey hadn't always been easy, but every obstacle had led her here, to a place where her vision had become reality. As the celebration drew to a close, Maya stepped outside, taking a quiet moment to reflect. The city lights shimmered ahead, familiar yet ever-changing, much like her own path. She thought about the challenges she'd faced, the lessons she'd learned, and the lives she'd touched along the way. And though she knew there would always be more work to do, she felt a deep sense of peace. Maya smiled to herself, knowing that her legacy wasn't confined to the walls of the hotel. It lived in the hearts of those she had inspired, the community she had uplifted, and the values she had instilled. This was more than a story of ownership.